I'm very excited to say that I think there's a new chief in town when it comes to my Squat Everyday program. I'm thinking of going with the front squat for my primary movement for the rest of the way. This is day 4 now for me of front squatting. It's feeling great. I feel as though there are multiple things going on with the front squat that the back squat might not have. Now this might be just one of those things that, you know, it's popping up because I'm so not used to front squatting. Maybe somebody that's front squatting all the time, going back to the back squat, will have, you know, things pop up that they haven't realized, you know, before. But for me right now, the front squat is just a better movement. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, have the assumption that whatever movement allows you to put more weight on the bar is a better movement. I've heard that many times over the years. That's why they say compound movements are great, because, you know, you can load the bar quite heavy, you know, the heaviest of all the movements, and then you can kind of build a lot of strength with few of those compound movements, kind of like the big 3. But I think with the front squat, it's a different beast because it's so demanding of your posterior chain in a different way. I think we all know that the posterior chain is more involved in the back squat position because you can lean over a little bit more, engage the glutes, the hamstrings to a larger extent because of the, you know, the lever's favorite, I guess. But with the front squat, maybe you can make an argument, which is probably right, that there's less engagement of the glutes and the hamstrings because you're more upright. But I think that's repaid by the fact that the upper back is engaged so much more in the front squat. In the front squat, you have the bar resting on your collarbones. Now, if you are to lean over and trying to engage your posterior chain, like the glutes and the hamstrings, you will drop the bar. You would just simply not, you wouldn't be able to kind of load that to the same extent as with the back squat. However, what's happening with the upper back is a completely different thing. With the back squat, the bar's sitting there and it's not going to go anywhere, right? The more you lean over, the more it's kind of stable, right? It's not going to drop off. And you got your hands there and it's just really stable. With the front squat, however, the bar sitting on your collarbone, if you relax your upper back, the bar goes on the floor. So it's a constant contraction, isometric contraction, to keep the bar there. Even if you're just standing there in a rack position before you go down, you're working. I'm not sure that's the same for the back squat. In fact, I know it's not, because I could basically, you know, rack a back squat and just basically stand all day there because I just don't feel like I'm working. I'm kind of like leaning over a little bit. The bars has some meat to sit on and that's it, basically. With the front squat, is just incredible how much it works your upper back. The more you go down, the more you need to increase the contraction because your body will want to kind of lean over a little bit to engage some of the posterior chain muscles. But it's a trade-off, right? For every degree that you lean over, it's like tenfold work up there for the upper back. So it's phenomenal. Not just to get better at general movements in the gym, but it has great carryover to everyday life. I've been walking around the house and at work, sticking my chest up effortlessly. I'm not even kind of trying to do that. It's just the residue of doing front squats. Because I have to fight so hard to keep the bar on my back, on my collarbone, I'm forever in this position looking up. I'll take the bar off and I'll walk away, go to the house, or go to work. I'm still in this position, right? It feels very uncomfortable to kind of slouch over like I am right now for the video. It feels weird, it feels uncomfortable. Whereas when I'm like this, I feel like that's kind of normal. And this is only 4 days worth of front squatting. So front squatting is an absolute beast of a movement. I've heard people over the years say it's better for athletes. It has better translation, you know, to sporting fields because, you know, for various different reasons, core, the quads, whatever else. I'm not going to say that the front squat is better for, and you shouldn't do the back squat. I think the back squat has its place, obviously. But for now, for me right now, I think there's a massive weakness for me in my body, in my upper back, and it's being exposed by the front squat. It really is. Not only that, but there's a huge demand on flexibility You know, you guys have noticed me wearing Olympic weightlifting shoes. Without them, I wouldn't be able to front squat properly. If I was to go bare feet or flats like I'm wearing right now, I would have to freaking have my feet way out wide, pointed out, to kind of borrow the mobility from other parts, other structures. I don't want to squat like that. I don't want to squat like, you know, Westside Barbell when they have legs, you know, splayed 50 meters this way. I just don't think it's an athletic posture. I don't know. I never envisioned a squat to be that way. It's just very unnatural. When I think of squatting, I think of toddlers, right? I think of toddlers. That's the way humans are supposed to squat. I don't think that we should have so much torque out with our hips. It just seems weird to me. Now, for the sport of weightlifting, or rather powerlifting, you can do whatever you want, whatever gets you more weight on the bar, I guess. For me, I'm not necessarily training to compete. I'm training to kind of get stronger and do movements that kind of make sense to me in my brain. So sumo stuff is just out of the way for me. I just don't think it makes sense to me. Like I said, if you're a powerlifter and you're winning gold medals for doing that, that's fine. Like, I have no problems with that at all. It just doesn't make sense to me. So basically, that's where I'm sitting at right now. I think the front squat is a superior movement. It has carryover both to the gym and real life. I think if I'm able to put on, you know, a sizable gain in my front squat, I think it will be direct translation to the back squat. You know, for quite some time, I've been trying to battle and get more upright in the back squat, and I think the front squat is going to achieve that for me. It really is. Like, right, you know, you can't front squat any sort of way without maintaining some sort of posture, right? Whereas with the back squat, you can kind of get lazy and kind of good morning that shit up. There's no good morning the front squat. There's only one way up, and that's to stay upright. So I like that. I really like that. So over the coming days, I'm going to have my front squat as my meat and potatoes of the Squat Everyday program. Like I said to you, I'm going to maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. It depends how I feel and how much time I have. I'll do some back off sets with the back squat. But right now, my number one goal is to smash the front squat. I have a lot of work to do. My ankles are still not there. I have to work on my mobility full time now. I really have to get my ankles going. Right now, the shoes are borrowing me the mobility that I need, but really I don't want to just rely on shoes. You know, I want to have, you know, a flat foot, upright position, right? You know, without any shoes on. So that's my goal. That's what I want, and I think it's going to help me front squat a lot of weight. Because the more upright you are, the more comfortable you're up here, and the less your upper back has to work. And ultimately, I think the weakest link in the front squat is going to be the upper back. Because if you know, like I said, for every degree that you lean forward, it's like tenfold work upstairs for the traps and the rhomboids to kind of keep you up. So yeah, it's really exciting to have a fresh challenge when it comes to squatting. Yeah, stay tuned, I guess. 150 was my max the first day that I did it. The reason I haven't kind of approached that way is because I'm so freaking sore in my upper back. Like I'm cramping. I'm sore, I'm cramping, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now. See how it goes in the next couple of days. Hopefully I get stronger. What I'm doing right now is basically hitting my daily training max, and then I basically go to 70% of that weight, and I do 5 sets of 5. And that's basically my squatting portion of training. And then yesterday I did some 3-inch deficit deadlifts. The reason why I think that's a good idea is because there's so little demand on the posterior chains, the hamstring, the glutes, with the front squat, that I feel like I have to do something to kind of, you know, address that when I'm just front squatting. So yeah, so I'll do a bit of pulling as well now. Now that I'm doing a bit of front squatting, now that I'm doing front squatting as my main movement. So we'll see how it goes. I really have to get my back stronger. I have to get my ankles more mobile, and then I think I might be on the right path to getting a better front squat. Anyway, guys, stay tuned. This is a new new battle for me, new grounds. I'm not really good with front squatting. There's a big discrepancy between my back squat and front squat, but hopefully I can rectify that in the coming weeks, and maybe my back squat will also go up as my front squat goes up. Anyway guys, I'll catch you in the next one.